She now has the power to fly, shoot lasers out of her without opening her mouth.
That's right. We're keeping them any longer.
Blossom can't understand why Santa thinks Princess is nice, and Bubbles is still shocked that she's on the naughty list. Buttercup reminds her of her flyby snooping, and Bubbles nearly takes her out with her death glare. The girls set out to the North Pole when Princess Queen befriends to tell Santa they're out to destroy his workshop.
Santa Claus, I felt it was my duty to warn you about the 3 naughty girls who are coming to destroy your workshop.
I hope those crocodile tears freeze your eyes before racing
We're going
the world and somehow stay on the exact same street. Just how big is the city of Townsville? Princess tosses Bubbles into a house, and her sisters leave her behind so they can kick the bratty rich girl's ass. And honestly, I don't blame them. Princess takes out each Powerpuff Girl one by one and slaps the crap out of Buttercup. She's got balls, I'll give her that. The girls chase her through the forest, and Buttercup ends up eating shit. I'm honestly surprised she got right through that. Princess next takes out Bubbles by chopping down Trees decide to fight back. Blossom takes the lead, and the girls end up flying over the CGI ocean. Bubbles tries to take Princess down, but accidentally burns Buttercup to a crisp. Oops. Blossom uses her super breath to force Princess to crash into an iceberg, while Bubbles uses her wails of terror to shatter her eardrums. The girls get the upper hand, and Princess whines how that's not fair. Bite me. Princess is done playing around and knocks the girls out of the sky with a giant ice boulder.
How'd you like my stocking stuffer?
Nice shot. Princess faceplants into the side of the glacier and creates an avalanche that takes them all the way to the North Pole. The girls are nearly at St. Nick's door when Princess starts a squabble that ends up destroying Santa's sled, the reindeer shelter, and the entire damn toy factory. Not the Betty Weddy dolls. The elves drown in a sea of balls when the girls discover Santa is in the mood for nobody's bullshit. Father Christmas laments how all the children in the world have been naughty this year. He busts out the list to prove his point, even though he clearly didn't bother to check it twice. The girls deduce Princess Sweat's list, and the nefarious Nepo baby claims she's a billion times nicer than the Powerpuff Girl. This instantly backfires when it turns out Santa is a Powerpuff Girl stan. Go figure. By the looks of him, I could have sworn he was a brony.
See, that explains all the flying and floating and stuff.
I'm sure everyone looks like they're floating when you drink that much eggnog. Princess pitches a royal bitch fit about how she deserves to be a Powerpuff Girl because her daddy said so. She goes off the rails and calls Santa a dumb fat fuck for not agreeing with her and threatens to burn his workshop to the ground. Santa recoils in terror as the super-powered snothead admits to screwing over all the kids in the world just so she can become some second-rate supervillain. Santa goes Super Saiyan and tells the prissy princess exactly where she can shove her candy cane.
I don't need no stinking list telling me who's naughty and who's nice, because I'm Santa Claus. Check it.
Father Christmas puts Princess in her place and banishes her to the permanent naughty list, along with the slur's creators and a certain German of indiscernible origin. Princess flies off to tell her daddy when Santa takes away her powers, stranding her on a snowbank.
We didn't know you could give kids superpowers for Christmas.
No the rest.
Bullshit. You know how many years I've been asking Santa for the power to instantly transport wherever I want to go? I'm fucking sick of rush hour traffic. Santa is in a rush to deliver all the toys before dawn when he finds his sleigh in total disrepair. It looks like Christmas is ruined until he gets the bright idea to have the Powerpuff Girls deliver the gifts for him. The girls head out while Santa nurses his holly jolly pumpkin. The Powerpuff Girls break into every house in the world to deliver the toys and even drop off Princess at the police station. Which is funny, but what exactly is she supposed to be charged with? Almost ruining Christmas? As far as the cops are concerned, this is just some random girl hog-tied in a jail cell. That's not a great look for the Powerpuff Girls. The girls get back home and finally get to sleep when the professor wakes them up to open presents. The girls tell him to piss off until they remember it's Christmas, and sleep always comes second to the thrill of instant gratification. The girls rush downstairs to open their gifts while Santa watches them from outside like a fucking creeper. Seriously, it's not like he's there to deliver presents. Why the hell is he at their house? And we never see Santa again after this episode, because after getting out of prison, Princess probably sued the North Pole into the ground and got her daddy to tear it down to build an Amazon warehouse. Let's review. Princess desperately wanted to be a Powerpuff Girl, even though her family already has more money than God and could easily buy her way into superheroism. She broke into the North Pole and was somehow shocked that she was on the naughty list. list. She switched the list to screw over every kid in the world, even though it would have been way easier just to add her name to the nice list. This led to every kid in the world being on the naughty list, except for her, because I guess nobody at Santa's workshop bothered to double check the list before delivering coal to the entire world. When she finally got powers, Princess instantly turned into a supervillain and terrorized the town just to show off. Powerpuff Girls tried to expose her ruse to Santa. Princess ended up being the source of her own demise and got herself banished to the naughty list. And even after Santa took away her powers, she still whined that she was the victim and tried to tell on him to her daddy. F you, Princess Morebucks.
Wait!
Is there a cartoon you want me to talk about? Patrons who join my $10 tier can pick which shows I cover on just a cartoon. There's a limited number of slots available, so sign up now.
Yoshi? Mommy, look what Rosie did! Rosie, why did you do that? Because I love you!
Hey guys, happy October. I know you all have been begging for F.U. Caillou Volume 5, and since it's spooky season, I thought it'd be fun to cover some Halloween-themed episodes on the show. I know there are more Halloween episodes than just these 3, but I wanted to stick with as much of the original series as possible. Believe me when I say I sincerely tried to watch the newer version of Caillou, and I almost threw up in my mouth. And here I thought Arthur had the steepest decline in animation. Make sure to let me know in the comments which episode of Caillou I should cover next. Also, please remember to subscribe. Once we hit 40,000 subs, I'm going to tear the Barney movie to absolute shreds. So if you want me to do that sooner than later, please hit that subscribe button. Let's not waste any more time and delve right in. This video is brought to you by viewers like you. Thank you. Make sure to subscribe and help get this video to 4,000 likes. Caillou's grandpa shows up to take him to the big farm upstate. And the one time that isn't a euphemism, Rosie is jealous she doesn't get to go and dumps spaghetti all over her brother's favorite teddy bear.
Mommy, look what Rosie did!
Looks like Caillou's starting to rub off on her. Caillou yells at his sister for ruining his teddy bear and nearly destroys her on the spot. Caillou whines that he can't take Teddy with him, and Mommy steps in to defuse the situation. She offers to wash Teddy so he's good as new. But Caillou doesn't want Teddy to go in the washing machine. Grandpa intervenes before things can get worse and leaves his daughter-in-law with a crying baby.
I hope the pumpkins aren't as heavy as you.
Damn, dude really just smashed his grandson. The two head to the pumpkin ranch, and Caillou picks the only pumpkin with flat colors. He tries to use it as a slide when he runs into Farmer James. Mrs. James brags how kids all over town send her pictures of her pumpkins after they've been turned into jack-o'-lanterns. Caillou asks where pumpkins come from.
Didn't even die at all.
A mommy pumpkin and a daddy pumpkin love each other very much. The two chow down on uncooked pumpkin seeds.
Have a look and see what you'd like to buy. Thank you for purchasing. Here I am. Thank you for
He
purchasing.
needs to pick a pumpkin, and the big bilge rat insists on taking all of them home. But Grandpa says he can only choose
Now?
one. Gee, I wonder which one he's gonna pick. Caillou holds the pumpkin with his weak nerd arms.
This is
Grandpa
not
tells him he'd be
so-
better off with the little one. They decided to take both so they can give the smaller pumpkin to baby Rosie. However, Caillou insists on decorating her pumpkin by himself and doesn't let
Not
Rosie
in
do a
this
damn
episode.
thing. Turns out Mommy and Rosie wash Teddy in the sink, and Caillou finally makes peace with his baby sister. Caillou punches out nails in the jack-o'-lantern and gives a piece of pumpkin to Gilbert, even though I'm pretty sure cats aren't supposed to eat pumpkin. The grown-ups finish carving the jack-o'-lanterns and take a picture to send to Mrs. James. Turns out Daddy designed the larger pumpkin to look like Caillou's head. He even made it the same size. Let's review. Rosie got jealous of her brother and tried to destroy his teddy bear out of spite. Caillou then threw a major bitch fit and nearly killed his sister on the spot until his mom and grandpa intervened. He took his sweet time picking a pumpkin and couldn't even lift it by himself. And even when he finally made peace with his sister, he refused to let her help make a jack-o'-lantern. So, F you Rosie for acting like your brother and trying to ruin his favorite teddy bear. And of course, for hogging the pumpkins all to himself and refusing to let his little sister make a jack-o'-lantern. F you Caillou. It's a few days before Halloween, and Caillou still doesn't have a costume, even though he's already the scariest thing imaginable. He gets an idea and puts on a white sheet. Careful how you proceed, Caillou. He blindly stumbles into Rosie's room and scares the crap out of the poor girl. He takes off the sheet, which only scares her even more. Caillou explains how Halloween is great for dressing up and getting candy.
It's not supposed to be scary. It's supposed to be fun.
Mommy suggests they come up with a costume that doesn't involve cutting eye holes in the laundry. She pulls out a random shirt and insists it's a princess costume. Princess Cheapskate to be exact. Caillou then asks Daddy to help him find a costume, and the boisterous beta male dresses his son in his old clothes.
Why don't you try this on for size?
Can Caillou's family seriously not afford to buy real costumes? Even the dollar store has some decent masks. Caillou dresses up as if he were a daddy, and the thought of this little hellspawn bringing more Caillou babies into the world is enough to nearly make me stab my eyes out. Daddy gives Rosie a bow tie, so she decides to be a clown princess. So, Harley Quinn, basically?
I don't make deals with psychopaths.
Caillou tries to move around in his creepy costume and nearly falls on his ass. Daddy insists they'll find a costume for him before Halloween, and Daddy turns out to be a big fat liar. Caillou's parents sit on their ass until Halloween night, and the bratty baby still doesn't have a costume. Caillou helps Mommy prep for trick-or-treaters by putting candy in baggies and drawing a jackass-o'-lantern. Caillou sulks that he still can't decide what he wants to be for Halloween. He goes rummaging through the basement, but only manages to find his dad's high heels. Just then, Caillou finds a blue fur boa and experiences his furry awakening. He has his mom dress him like a cat, along with Rosie, who is now a princess clown cat. Sure, why not? Caillou says his sister can't be 3 different things for Halloween, and Rosie tells him to back off.
You can't be everything, Rosie. Princess, clown, and cat.
Hell yeah, Rosie, you tell him. Caillou decides to ditch his fursona and tries to come up with something completely different. Daddy says Caillou should go as a monster, which is great since Caillou can just go dress as himself. He puts on a swim cap, which is apparently too tight, since he starts to hallucinate his shadow coming to life and running away into the candy trees. Though I'm not surprised the shadow monster is less scary than Caillou. Caillou says he wants to be a monster so he can have as much candy as he wants. He tries to steal the candy for the trick-or-treaters until his dad tells him to cut the crap. Caillou spends the afternoon practicing his scary face and nearly cracks the mirror. Caillou's mom somehow makes a whole costume out of the boa, and the little brat proudly shows off his mommy's mini monster Muppet suit. Just then, Caillou's friends come to the door, and Daddy decides they should prank their asses. Rosie is showing off her Princess Kitty Clown costume when Caillou jumps out and scares the ever-loving crap out of his friends.
It's just me.
That's even worse!
The two compliment Caillou's costume, which, not gonna lie, is pretty badass. Even if he does look like Little Brown Bear got into the blueberry patch. The trio set out to wreak havoc on the neighborhood, and Caillou promises not to eat all his candy in one night, which is a big old crock of crap. Let's review. Caillou waffled on putting together a Halloween costume and was somehow surprised when he ran out of time to come up with an idea. Instead of going to a regular store, he resorted to rummaging through random crapola and ended up becoming a furry in the process. And even when he finally put together a decent costume, he let his dad talk him into scaring his friends. So, F you, Mommy and Daddy, for being too stingy to get your kids real costumes and waiting until the last minute to throw something together. And of course, for going full furry and scaring the crap out of his friends, F you, Caillou. It's Halloween night, and Caillou is yelling at his mom to take him trick-or-treating. The poor woman relents and agrees to release her son onto the unsuspecting public. Yay! Caillou then marches up to his room like a dumbass. Caillou decides to dress like an astronaut, presumably so his parents can launch him into space. Rosie wants to dress like a clown until she gets Vietnam flashbacks from the time her brother traumatized her. Rosie is now terrified of becoming the Terrifier and refuses to put on the costume. Mommy stupidly assumes Rosie doesn't want to go trick-or-treating at all. Caillou can't comprehend why his sister would be scared. His mom says Rosie is still too little for Halloween, even though it's much more frightening living with an older brother who beats you up and scares you with creepy costumes. Instead of coming up with another costume, Mommy agrees to stay home with Rosie. Meanwhile, Daddy somehow manages to find a helmet big enough to fit his son's enormous head. For Mommy's sake, I really hope Caillou was a C-section baby. Caillou and Daddy head out to go trick-or-treating and pass by Gilbert's grave. They get to the first house, and Daddy leaves Caillou on the doorstep by himself. Bet that's not the first time he's tried that. Caillou knocks on the door when his mind suddenly goes blank.
You weren't invited.
For God's
I'm here
sake,
too, you know?
words. Caillou drags his feet before finally spitting out trick-or-treat. Mr. Hinkle gives him some candy, and the ass, not brag, is much braver than his baby sister.
Okay, cute
now.
Oh, you can just screw all the way off to the moon. Caillou next runs into Leo and Clementine, who are dressed as Frankenstein's monster and the
Haven't
from
been
Exorcist 3.
introduced to this yet. Never mind.
Clementine shows off her hoard of
And
treats,
then
which is 90%
there's
cherry
this
lollipops
guy.
and butterscotch hard candies. Gross.
And
The three go
one,
around town and terrorize their neighbors into giving them several
five,
ass loads of candy.
6,
This
I want to
could be
give
when I went trick-or-treating. What difference does it make if I'm almost
7,
30?
8,
Still made the
9,
costume. The kids head back to
10,
Caillou's house where Rosie's
11,
to remove the helmet from the
12,
astronaut's
13,
massive
14,
misshapen melon. She gets the helmet off,
16,
revealing the true
17,
monster
yeah,
underneath. The trio
yeah.
head inside as Caillou declares he loves Halloween, even though we all know this little bald bastard is incapable of feeling human emotions. Let's review. Caillou yelled at his parents to take him trick-or-treating and then nearly chickened out at the first house. When Rosie got scared by her costume, her mom decided to keep her home instead of trying to help her overcome her fears. And even though Rosie stopped being scared, it's unlikely Caillou will share any of his candy with her. Hell, he'll probably try to eat it all before the crack of dawn. So, F you mommy for making your daughter stay home from trick-or-treating. And of course, for being a half-assed astronaut, F you Caillou.
Wait!
Is there a cartoon you want me to talk
Where'd it
about?
go?
Patrons who join my $10 tier can pick which
Where's
show.
Mario?
It's just a cartoon. There's a limited number of slots available, so sign up now.
Okay, where we go? Oh. I see you. You're not fooling anybody.
This video is brought to you by viewers like you. Thank you. Make sure to subscribe and help get this video to 4,000 likes. Caillou tries to make his baby sister deaf by blowing his toy trumpet in her ear. He then tries to give her a secret
Let's do
by
this.
putting pans in
I
front of
don't
her.
know why I can't hear
Caillou is
myself.
excited to go to the parade, specifically so he can see the clowns.
I love clowns.
What a surprise! Unfortunately for him, his baby sister is terrified of clowns, as she rightfully should be, so mommy says they can't go.
I don't know if it's such a good idea to go to the parade.
But mommy, Caillou really wants to go to the parade. Caillou is 10 seconds away from burning his house to the ground. He calls Rosie a big stupid baby while crying like a big stupid baby. He tries to cure her fear of clowns by showing her the scariest toy on the face of the earth. Caillou points out that Rosie can't be afraid of clowns if she can't see the clowns, which makes me worry he's planning to stab her eyes out. Mommy intervenes in Caillou's flirt with fratricide and tries to fix things herself, which has always worked out perfectly in the past. Mommy dresses up Caillou as a clown, which is somehow supposed to make Rosie less afraid of clowns. Rosie watches in horror as Caillou transitions into his true form. He uses Gilbert's fur ball as a wig, as he has no idea what real hair looks like. Caillou completes his transformation into Naughty the Elf and scares the crap out of his cat. Mommy says they can now go to the parade, but Caillou's carnival of chaos is far from over, as he then forces Rosie to dress as a clown. Because this was Caillou's plan the whole time, to turn his sister into a clown so he and the other circus freaks can become the dominant species. That's what Caillou has always wanted, and he'll destroy us all to make it happen.
Destroy us all! Destroy us all! Destroy us all!
Let's review. Caillou insisted on going to the parade so he could become acclimated to his clown brethren. His sister's rational fear of clowns threw a wrench in his plans, so he defaulted to crying and screaming until he got what he wanted. Caillou sought to eliminate his sister's fear by repeatedly scaring her and dressing her up as a clown, which again would have the absolute opposite effect. He successfully brainwashed Rosie into his clown cult and got Mommy to take them to the parade, where they'll undoubtedly release God knows how many horrors upon the helpless townsfolk. F you, Caillou. The episode opens with the narrator crushing her Caillou doll's head with her fat ass. Lucky doll. Mommy tells Caillou to get dressed so they can run their rainy day errands. Caillou is so excited that he puts his rain boot on the wrong foot, like a dumbass. Mommy tries to help Caillou with his raincoat, but the doughy-eyed dum-dum insists on doing it himself. Mommy suppresses her laughter as Caillou wrestles with his coat harder than his inner demons. Caillou is about to head out in his Paddington cosplay when he suddenly remembers he needs to use the bathroom. Because of course he does.
I have to go to the bathroom.
Mommy again suppresses her instincts to beat the bratty baby senseless and helps him out of his rain gear. You don't need to remove your boots to take a shit, Caillou. Caillou is en route to the crapper when his feeble mind gets distracted by a toy car. Caillou decides that now is the perfect time to play. He grabs the toy car and scuffs up the furniture, the walls, and even Daddy's shoes. Daddy has to shout his son's name 3 damn times before he gets the little bastard's attention.
Caillou? Caillou? Caillou!
Caillou suddenly remembers he has to go and runs off to the bathroom before he shits his pants. And judging by the look on Daddy's face, Caillou doesn't quite make it in time. Caillou is bare ass on the toilet when his dad comes in to watch him go potty. Daddy reminds Caillou that Mommy is still waiting by the front door. Caillou pulls up his pants and wipes his ass. In that order, only to find Mommy has put away the raincoats. Turns out Caillou was in the bathroom for so long that the rain has stopped. Caillou and Mommy finally head to the grocery store, and Caillou jumps in every damn puddle along the way. Because if his parents don't kill him, then surely pneumonia will get him in the end. Let's review. Caillou dragged his feet, getting ready to go outside. He got all his rain gear on before remembering he had to take a shit. He took his sweet ass time getting to the bathroom and had to wait even more time while taking a piss. And even when he was finally ready to get out, so much time that the weather had completely changed. F you, Caillou. Caillou and Sarah are playing in the snow when the older girl asks if he wants to make a snowman. Caillou agrees to make the snowman's
Hi,
head
Luigi.
much like his
Welcome
own,
to my shop.
round and smooth and
Have a
full of
look and see
nothing.
what you'd like to buy. Thank you for purchasing. Thank you for purchasing.
Still better than Frozen. Instead of asking for help, Caillou decides to dick around and falls flat on his face. Caillou gets up after 10 seconds like a whiny little It's not like the snowman likes you either. Bitch. Sarah takes pity on the pathetic pipsqueak and offers to help him make the biggest snowman in the world.
Snowman in the world and the universe.
Sarah, are you having a stroke? Sarah shows him how to make a snowball, but the lackluster lunkhead can't even do that right. Caillou finally makes a snowball and instinctively throws it at Sarah's head. What the hell? Caillou continues to hurl snowballs at Sarah, even after she tells him several times to stop. Sarah gets fed up with Caillou's crap and decides to go home, much to his dismay. No, stay, please. That's what you sound like, Caillou. For some reason, Sarah agrees to stay and helps Caillou finish the snowman. They somehow put it together without Caillou destroying it when Mommy comes out to help decorate. Sarah decides to cosplay as other mother while Caillou plays with a carrot, and Mommy tells him exactly where he can stick it. The three head inside, but not before Caillou leaves a snowball snack for the snowman, which would be like feeding a dog smaller pieces of another dog. And while this might be the biggest snowman in the world, its head is still somehow smaller than Caillou's massive misshaped melon. Let's review. Caillou tried to make a snowman, but gave up when he realized he didn't know how. When Sarah showed him how to make a snowball, he thanked her by using
All the Yoshis
as an act of
together.
war. He made Sarah so mad that she nearly went home, until the ill-tempered invalid convinced her to stay and finish what they started. F you, Caillou. Caillou is spending the day with his grandma, and the cranky creeper is bored out of his stupid little head. He takes out his frustrations on his helpless block tower, while Grandma does everything in her power to keep him from having a complete meltdown. God bless her.
You must have got out of the wrong side of the bed today, Caillou.
No, the fact that he got out of bed at all is the issue here. Caillou insists he's not grumpy by yelling in his grandma's face, which in real life would lead to an immediate spanking. But no, Grandma instead rewards his grumpy attitude with apple pie. Who the hell doesn't want apple pie? Hell, I'll take that pie if you don't want it. Caillou proceeds to kick his favorite dinosaur into the ominous void of white space. Caillou tries to calm himself with Grandma's paint set and ends up making a huge mess. He ruins the paints by using the same brush for every color. He then crams his disgusting fingers directly into the paint jars and crudely smears them on the canvas. Grandma returns with the pie and somehow doesn't claw her eyes out at the sight of Caillou's god-awful self-portrait. The two chow down on pie when Mommy arrives to take Caillou home. Finally, Grandma tells him to come back anytime he feels grumpy, and Caillou proclaims he can't wait to be grumpy again. Is there no end to our despair? Let's review. Caillou spent the whole day in a crappy mood and yelled at his grandma when she tried to cheer him up. He took out his anger on his toys and made an absolute mess of his grandma's paints. And not only was Caillou not punished for his terrible behavior, but he was rewarded with apple pie and happily promised to be an even bigger pain in the near future. F you, Caillou. The episode opens with two kids trying to drown their Caillou doll in the sink, even though you can't kill something that doesn't have a soul. Caillou's family is heading to the beach as they sing their ear-bleeding ditty of the damned.
The beach, the sea, we're off to see the sea.
That's just weak songwriting.
Caillou's family gets to the beach and leaves Rosie locked in the back seat. Caillou nearly runs face first into the ocean when his mom stops him to lather his head with sunscreen. I'm surprised she had enough to cover that big-ass chrome dome. Caillou runs off before she can finish and somehow doesn't get burnt to a crisp by the vengeful sun. Daddy takes his 3-year-old son into the ocean, even though Caillou obviously can't swim. Father of the year, folks. The two get into the water and nearly freeze their nips and balls off. Or rather, they would if they had either. The family sits down for lunch and Caillou stupidly puts his sandwich in the sand, which sands up his sandwich. Caillou angrily tosses the food on the ground and is still pissed when it gets swiped by a seagull.
How is Tails not out yet?
My sandwich!
You're the one who threw it out. What did you think was gonna happen? Caillou's family laughs at his comeuppance before the round-headed reject tries to take out his anger on a sand crab. Caillou follows the crab back to his home and starts screwing around with the defenseless sea creatures. Caillou stabs himself on a sea urchin when the same seagull from before shows up to laugh in his face. Mommy saves the bird from Caillou's wrath by having him build a sandcastle. Caillou runs to Mommy while the feral featherhead is on the warpath. Caillou finishes his crab-tastic sandcastle when Poseidon tries to drag him to the bottom of the ocean. Better luck next time, Poseidon. The family packs up as Caillou's sand abomination gets put out of its misery. The family heads home, but promises to come back tomorrow, and the next day, and the next day.
And the next day. And the next day. And the next day.
Let's review. Caillou ran rampant on the beach and somehow avoided drowning himself. He refused to put on sunscreen and went into the ocean despite not knowing how to swim. He tried to litter after ruining his own lunch and still had the gall to get mad when a bird stole it. He tortured the helpless beach animals until they were forced to fight back. And even when his family had to leave, he vowed to return to the beach every day so he could ruin it for everyone. F you, Caillou. Caillou struggles to shove his big-ass feet into his tiny-ass shoes. He barely squeezes them on and cries out in pain with every step. Music to my ears. Mommy tells Caillou he needs to get new shoes and has him put on his dorky-ass rain boots. Mommy takes Caillou to the shoe store and Caillou is bummed that he can't run or splash around in his rain boots. He bumps into Sarah, who can't run away fast enough from the large-headed leopard. Caillou gets to the store and almost immediately tears it to the ground. He tries to bend a shoe in half and knocks down a window display, and somehow doesn't immediately get spanked by his mom. Mommy tries to get her child to pick a shoe, while Caillou takes forever to pick a damn color.
Hurry up already!
The store owner intervenes before Caillou can do any more damage and measures 6 feet. Mommy asks Caillou again to pick a shoe when the tyrannical toddler nearly has a seizure. The owner makes the decision for him so he can get Caillou out of the store as fast as possible. Mommy also gets a new pair of shoes, and Caillou tries to measure her feet.
Hi,
Mommy
Luigi.
says her feet
Welcome
stopped
to my
growing
shop.
a long time ago. Unlike the stress
Have a look and see what you'd like to buy.
The next day, Caillou
Thank you for purchasing.
kicks.
Thank you for purchasing.
As the rampaging rascal runs headfirst into oncoming traffic. Let's review. Caillou he needed new shoes until he nearly broke both his feet. He went to the shoe store, to destroy the place. And even when he got his new shoes, his first instinct was to brag about them to his friends. F you, Caillou. Is there a cartoon you want me to talk about? Patrons who join my $10 tier can pick which shows I cover on It's Just a Cartoon. There's a limited number of slots available, so sign up now.
They should make this a little bit harder.
Daddy!
This video is brought to you by viewers like you. Thank you. Be sure to subscribe and help get this video to 2,000 likes.
Fight!
Caillou is celebrating his 4th birthday, as he's managed to go another year without catching himself on fire. The big-headed birthday boy chows down on cake frosting and refuses to share any with baby Rosie. His father scolds him for not sharing before proving himself to be a massive hypocrite. Nice going, Daddy. Caillou opens a present from his grandma and is disappointed when it turns out to be a sweater. Grandma asks Caillou if he likes it, and Mommy interjects before Caillou can say something bitchy. Just then, Leo and Clementine show up, who I'm guessing were bribed by Caillou's parents to come to the party. Daddy next paints the kids' faces and resists the urge to stab his son's eyes out with the paintbrush. Daddy paints the kids to look like animals, clowns, and Ming the Merciless. Caillou gets his face painted like Gilbert and scares the crap out of the poor cat with his resting woo face. The kids get their snack on as Caillou and Leo fight over a Twizzler and nearly go full Lady and the Tramp. Caillou gets his birthday cake and takes forever to come up with a wish. Deja vu. He wishes for the same dinosaur toy and then digs into his cake with his bare hands like a goddamn savage. He gives up after 2 bites, like a quitter, when his parents give him his final present. Gee, I wonder what it could be. Caillou tears into his present to find a special dinosaur toy. Damn, that actually looks pretty cool. Later, the guests are having sundaes when Rosie splatters ice cream all over Caillou's shirt. Nice shot. Mommy changes Caillou into the sweater from his grandma, which, surprise, surprise, has a dinosaur on it, which is nice, but I'm not sure why she had to change him in front of everyone. Let's review. Caillou spent his birthday waiting impatiently to get another dinosaur toy to add to his ever-growing collection. He refused to share his sweets with his sister and scared his cat for no good reason. He only got 2 other kids to come to his party and almost made out with one of them. He silently resented his grandma for getting him a tacky sweater until he realized it had a dinosaur on it, because apparently dinosaurs make up the total sum of Caillou's interests and personality. F you, Caillou. Caillou is hiding in his grandpa's cupboard when his stupid ass gets stuck. His grandpa contemplates letting him suffocate before changing his mind. Damn. Caillou explains that he was hiding in a hiding place, the same way his parents are hiding from him by making him grandpa's problem. Grandpa then asks Caillou if he can keep a secret. No, he can't.
Caillou wondered what Grandpa was going to tell him.
If you'd shut up for a second, we'll find out. Grandpa tells Caillou he has a special hiding place in the garden, which is a big fat red flag. Grandpa then takes Caillou to a secondary location where they spend way too long looking for the obvious hiding place.
I'm sure this is the right tree.
It's the only tree in your backyard, dumbass. Caillou crawls inside the tree trunk, which is way bigger on the inside and even has its own echo.
It's the best special hiding place in the world.
How is this tree not dead? The next day, Caillou takes his toys to the tree trunk as Rosie follows after him. Caillou tells his baby sister to piss off, as he refuses to share the hiding hole that doesn't even belong to him. He hurts Rosie's feelings so badly that he makes her cry. Best big brother ever. Caillou is playing with his tacky dinosaur toys when he stumbles across a miniature cowboy. Surprise, surprise, it turns out the cowboy belonged to Daddy when he was Caillou's age. Daddy explains how he used the hiding hole to play with his miniature cowboy, along with a miniature cop, construction worker, and Native American. And we never see Caillou's hiding hole again after this episode, because his grandpa probably realized the tree had been dead for several years and chopped it down to keep the vermin from spreading to the house. Let's review. Caillou tried to hide from his grandpa for reasons we'll never fully understand and immediately got stuck. When his grandpa showed him a better hiding place, he refused to share it with his baby sister and yelled at her until she cried. And not only was Caillou not punished for yelling at Rosie, but he was rewarded with his father's hand-me-down action figure. F you, Caillou. Caillou scares his cat Gilbert with a drawing of the demon possessing his soul. Caillou is bored and says he wants to play. He goes to find Rosie, who's taking a nap. Instead of leaving her alone, Caillou sneaks up to her crib and stares at her while she sleeps. What the hell? Caillou gets scolded by his father, who looks like he's wearing his wife's clothes again. Caillou tells Daddy he wants to play. Daddy tells Caillou to go away, as he and Mommy are busy retiling the bathroom, presumably after Caillou tore it to shreds. Caillou spends the rest of the afternoon torturing his poor cat. He crashes Gilbert into the furniture and somehow doesn't get his eyes scratched out. He then tries to read his cat a story. Good to know at least one of these brats can read. Gilbert doesn't give two craps about the story, as he's content to lay on the couch and lick his balls. Aren't we all? Caillou then dresses up Gilbert for a wholesome game of pimps and hoes. He wheels the cat around the house again when Gilbert flees the stroller and damn near ruins the bathroom. Caillou's parents scold him for playing dress-up with a cat.
You know how you don't like to play baby games? That's because you're not a baby.
I know a lot of people who would disagree with you. They tell him to play games that a cat would like. This instantly backfires when Caillou goes too method and becomes a cat kid. Let's review. Caillou had nobody to play with because he has no friends. He stalked his baby sister and bugged his parents to no end. He then spent the entire afternoon coming up with new thoughts for his cat and ended up becoming a full-on pussy. He is riding his new tricycle when some fat-ass squirrel steals his cookie. He tries to tell his mom, only to find her passed out drunk on the patio. Caillou takes advantage of his mom's midday snack from home. He goes around the corner when the same chunky boy from earlier throws an acorn at his head, though it's not like he could miss Caillou's. That it's only a matter of time before he can go out into the world on his own. God help us all. F you, Caillou. Caillou attempts to make the world's largest sandcastle. What a bunch of crap. He gets spooked when a passing dog barks at him, because all dogs know a demon when they smell one. Caillou is now terrified of dogs and runs crying to his mommy. The next day, Caillou is staying with his grandma who, surprise surprise, has a dog in the house. Caillou hears the dog bark and locks himself in the closet. Caillou refuses to come out of the closet until his grandma convinces him to stop being a total weenie. They go to check on the dog, who turns out to be his doppelganger. His doppelganger? Caillou insists on locking the dog in the other room as he's still scared of having his face bitten off. He changes his mind, however, when his grandma reads him a story about dogs and goes to check on the puppy. Caillou jokes how the puppy looks like his mom's slipper, and since these two are practically identical, that must mean Caillou inherited his face from his mom's foot. Caillou cautiously approaches the dog, who is clearly more scared of Caillou than Caillou is of him. Caillou spends the rest of the afternoon showing his new puppy pal how to play. The two fall asleep together as Caillou has conquered his fear of dogs, even though the dog from the park seems to still have it out for him. Let's review. Caillou got scared by a barking dog and ran crying to his mommy. He refused to play with his grandma's puppy until she showed him the dog was hungry. And Caillou was stupid to be afraid in the first place. F you, Caillou. Caillou is staring at his own ass when a fly tries to make a suicide run down his throat. His grandma shows up to babysit, and Caillou tries to drag her through the mail slot. Way to fat shame, asshole. Grandma puts on a puppet show for Rosie, which gets interrupted by Gilbert.
What the fuck?
Caillou gets ready for bed, but not before he tries to eat your soul.
I want your soul.
Caillou struggles to fall asleep with all the sunlight in his room. That's what happens when you send your kids to bed at 4:30. He spends the next hour tossing and turning as he nearly destroys his bed. Grandma finds Caillou in a hapless state and realizes he doesn't have any curtains to keep out the sunlight. She puts up a sheet to keep out the light and then decorates it with light-up stickers, which kind of defeats the whole point. Caillou finally gets to sleep when when the same damn fly from earlier threatens to keep him up all night. Let's review. Caillou nearly broke his grandma's arm trying to drag her through the mail slot and refused to go to sleep until she decorated his room with tacky space stickers. And even though this episode is fairly tame, I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't say F you Caillou. Wait! I have a Patreon. Sign up at patreon.com/mattneff to get your name in the thank you credits, as well as early access to both FUDW and FU Caillou. If there's a movie or show you'd like me to talk about, top-tier patrons can commission a review for my channel. Check out the link in the description to become an FUDW superfan. Also, I'm now on Cameo, so make sure to check out my profile to get a personalized FU video. By viewers like you. Thank you. Be sure to subscribe and help get this video to 2,000 likes. Caillou's parents bring Rosie home from the hospital. Caillou is excited to meet his newborn sister for the first time, until his parents start giving her all their affection. Rosie is less than a week old, and already Caillou's parents know she's the good child. Caillou is mad he's no longer the center of attention, and sets out to make Rosie's life a living hell. He trashes his own doll because it reminds him too much of his sister. Sexist much?
Being sexist is wrong, and being wrong is for women.
Daddy stupidly asks his 2.5-year-old son if he wants to hold the baby. Caillou yells in Daddy's face, which somehow doesn't lead to an instant ass-whooping. Daddy makes the grave mistake of leaving baby Rosie alone for 2 seconds, as Caillou puts his dastardly scheme into action. He tricks Rosie into thinking he likes her and then promptly pinches her until she cries. Geez, even DW never went that far.
Give that back, Rose! Pinch you!
Rosie cries her head off as Caillou refuses to stop pinching her until Daddy rips her from his arms. Daddy scolds his son for the first time in his life, which isn't very effective when your voice has all the cadence of Mr. McFeely's bottom bitch.
Why did you do that to Rosie?
Your voice sounds stupid!
Caillou shows no remorse for torturing his baby sister, proudly proclaiming he doesn't like her. Instead of grounding Caillou for the rest of his life, Daddy tries to reason with the balding bad seed. Caillou says he hates his sister because she doesn't want to play. Even though he's made it clear up till now, he was jealous of all the attention she was getting. Daddy tells Caillou it's his duty as a big brother to protect his defenseless little sister. Rosie, you poor bastard. Daddy indirectly punishes Caillou by making him help change Rosie's diaper, since clearly every member of his family is full of shit. Also, how did he change her diaper without taking off her onesie? The world may never know. Caillou brags to Mommy that he helped change Rosie, even though he barely did a damn thing. Mommy proves she's just as stupid as Daddy and allows the bratty baby to hold his sister. Caillou remarks how good Rosie smells, which makes me nervous about what Caillou thinks they're having for dinner. Let's review. Caillou got jealous of his newborn baby sister because he was no longer the center of attention. He decided he hated her and set out to torture her until she cried. And even when he got caught, he was only punished with a slap on the wrist, ensuring Rosie's childhood would be a formidable hell. F you, Caillou. Caillou is banging on his toy drums when his mom tells him to knock that shit off. Baby Rosie needs to take a nap, but Caillou wants to play. Caillou's mom tells him to play quietly. Caillou says fuck that and dumps his Legos all over the floor. Caillou decides to make cookies after looking at a blank book. Caillou goes to the kitchen right when the acid kicks in. Caillou tries to grab the honey pot off the top shelf and knocks everything onto the floor. He makes the mess worse with his half-baked, half-assed honey cookies. Caillou gets caught by his mom and starts crying like a little bitch. Instead of sending Caillou to his room, his mom rewards his bad behavior by making him cookies after she does 90% of the cleanup. The next day, Caillou takes full credit for making the cookies and gleefully makes an even bigger mess like the little shit he is. Let's review. Caillou was as loud and obnoxious as possible despite his mom's objections. He tried to make cookies unsupervised and ended up trashing the whole kitchen. And even after he got caught, his mother did nothing to punish him, ensuring he'll grow up to be an even louder and messier psychopath. F you, Caillou. Caillou is scared of his next-door neighbor and tries hiding in his mom's humongous ass. Mr. Hinkle tries to say hello, only for Caillou to run off like a total pussy. Mr. Hinkle goes to apologize to Caillou, even though he did nothing wrong.
I don't like him.
He doesn't like you either, bitch. Caillou refuses to be in the same room with his neighbor, so Mr. Hinkle turns it into a game of hide and seek, which ironically makes him seem way creepier than before. Caillou gets caught up in the game and eagerly jumps into his neighbor's arms, proving he was stupid to be scared of him in the first place. Let's review. Caillou feared his neighbor for no good reason and went out of his way to avoid him. He hurt Mr. Hinkle's feelings and refused to make friends with him until he realized he liked being chased and caught by older men. But I'm sure that won't affect Caillou's future in any way, shape, or form. F you, Caillou. Caillou hates vegetables almost as much as I hate Caillou. His parents tell him he can't go to the park until he finishes his broccoli. Caillou says fuck that and sneaks off to eat cookies instead. Grandpa shows up to take Caillou to the park and then tells him vegetables for rotten dough. Blind animals need food for energy, while Caillou hunts down squirrels who had the misfortune of crossing the 3-year-old psychopath. Grandpa tricks Caillou into eating his vegetables by acting like a bear and telling him cookies and carrots are actually bear food.
Hi, Luigi.
Grandma then brings
Welcome
out
to my shop.
cookies and Caillou swipes them all for himself.
Have a look and see what you'd like to buy.
Let's review. Caillou
I
refused to eat
didn't
vegetables and tried
purchase
stealing cookies behind
details
his
things
back. He
and
ditched his parents to
3D
go to the
thing.
park with his grandpa.
Thank you for purchasing. Thank you for purchasing. Thank you for purchasing. Thank you for purchasing.
Converted to his